Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the Icarian Imaginary herself, Sandy Reevy.
Hey, happy to be here on this island, too.
It is episode 324. Let's get right into this short episode starting with Sandy's Astro-Interesting Day, Tuesday, October 8th. Venus trine Mars.
He responds.
And Mercury trine Jupiter.
This is the part of Astro-Interesting, time to take a pause.
And Wednesday, October 9th, Jupiter stations retrograde.
Here for a while.
Then Sandy's favorite day, Friday, October 11th, Pluto stationing direct.
Final turn.
And Sunday, October 13th, Mercury square Pluto.
Agree with change?
And Mercury ingress Scorpio.
Getting down.
Then wrapping the week up with Sun trine Jupiter retrograde.
Just turned.
Then in our short episode, we're going to give some more of our highlights of our past Greece retreat that we just wrapped up. So stay tuned for more in this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your stars. It's you. Say you are the one, you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river, wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you.
Hello, Icarian Imaginary
friends. I'm going to come up with a new name for myself. Icary has the long life.
I think Greece already made a new nickname for you called Santi, where we were waiting on one of our shuttles, or we were looking around for one of our shuttles to pick us up from the Mykonos port. And there was a man standing there with a sign that says Santi. Santi.
Santi.
That's you.
Yeah, that's my new name. Yeah, and it was really interesting and funny because I literally had to go ask him if that was me.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, Santi. I go, okay, that sounds like me.
So
I'm like, 12 people? He goes, yeah. I go, okay.
That's us. We're grabbing it. So shall we get into On the Horizon?
Yeah, it's a big week.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big week. There's really only one square here going on. There's a lot of trines going on. So, we got a stationing retrograde, we got a stationing direct, and 3 trines. So, and an ingress. So a lot going on.
And we start the week with Sandy's Astro-Interesting Day, Tuesday, October 8th, Venus trine Mars.
Yeah, Venus is trining Mars. This is one of the reasons. It's, Venus is in Scorpio, ruled by Mars, and she's trining the ruler of the Scorpio, where she's visiting, right, the Scorpio, and trining Mars, the ruler of Scorpio. So in other words, Mars responds to Venus's wishes and her desires. Both are on the same page with the same motivations. They see each other, they understand each other. It's all from water. It's Scorpio to the trine to Cancer. So, use a splash of sweetness on whatever is deep below the surface. Don't be frightened. Just dive in, even if you're not clear on what lies beneath, right? Even if it's not clear waters, dive in. You guys can hold hands. You can connect. This can be really great for relationships. Right? And here Venus is moving super fast. She's moving more than 1 degree a day. She's moving fast.
Clipping.
Yeah.
So then the next transit is Mercury trine Jupiter. Time to take a pause.
And this also is Astro-Interesting, and they're happening on the same day. Mercury is trining Jupiter, and Jupiter's in Gemini. So there's also there's a reception here in a trine. So we've got 2 trines today. Because Venus, as I just talked about, Venus and Mars often have a relationship of opposites. In the Thema Mundi, in the original kind of schematic of astrological symbols, and they're in a trine, so they're working things out. And the other aspect that's going on is the Mercury is trining Jupiter. Now, these two, Mercury and Jupiter, are also opposites in the thema mundi, right? Because Jupiter is the little details, the little small little pieces of a puzzle, and Jupiter is the big picture. So they're in a trine, and Jupiter is in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So here we're going air. So, again, I find this very interesting that we get the 4 players here, that 2 that are usually opposition for each other.
Right.
And Mercury and Jupiter that are usually in opposition for each other. So
and they're both in trine. It's
and they're
great.
both in trine. See how all the practice and the detailing and the programming can actually work on these new horizons, right? It's like, be proud of your accomplishments that you have, created and conducted, and enjoy them, right? Because it's coming from air. It's like sharing your information with everybody you're talking to, with all your friends, your partners, your contacts. Yeah.
So Astro-Interesting Day, Tuesday, October 8th. Let's move on to Wednesday, October 9th, where Jupiter stations retrograde in Gemini.
Right, and he stations retrograde at 21 degrees of Gemini. And he's going to be here for a while. So it's kind of like recapturing a bit, because he's going to be at 21 degrees for 29 days. Let me repeat that. He got to 21 degrees September 25th, so about a week, 2 weeks ago. He got to 21, and he retrogrades here and doesn't move off of the 21 to go back to 20, right? Until October 24th. So this is 29 days, and like an entire month of his stationing, which means he stops to turn another way. So if you have anything at 21 degrees, particularly the Gemini, I have something at a 21 degree in a sextile. So, get comfortable in this new knowledge. It's a beautiful time to stand still. I hope you like where you are. I do. Because I must have planned accordingly. So this is really important for all Sagittarius people and Pisces people, for you and me, because Jupiter is the time lord of, Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Jupiter rules Pisces. So as he's slowing down, you get to recapture things of self.
Beautiful. So let's move on to Friday, October 11th, Sandy's favorite day, with Pluto stationing direct.
So this is now the final turn. This is stationing direct at 29 degrees of Capricorn. He has been in Capricorn for 20-ish years. Let's see, from 2008. So that's not quite.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but it's 2008. So it's been 16, 17 years.
Yes.
And, it's kind of like what is done, almost. What did that Pluto, the lord of the underworld, rejuvenate for you over this period, particularly over the last, say, 2 years? He arrived in the Capricorn at 0 degrees Capricorn in 2008, and has been changing old structures. I mean, that was his plan. That's his duty. That is his activating power, right?
Yep.
Is to change the structures of anything old is out completely, and he is out completely by November 20th he'll move into the 0 Aquarius November 20th, not to in our lifetime ever get back to Capricorn.
All right, so that's going to be a big adjustment.
Yeah, and we already see things are already changing, so again that kind of leads us into again, the political thing of like what old structure is changing and what new is coming in, right?
Right. So let's move on to Sunday, October 13th, Mercury square Pluto.
Yeah, are you agreeing with this change, right? The square, this Mercury making the square to this Pluto that's stationing direct is he's no longer combust. He's out of his combustion. So he's very clear and able to express himself properly. So he's, it's very possible for all of us to understand what is required from us. Do your duty to society, right? Get things accomplished, get things straight. It's a square, so it says, hey, we might have to apply a little pressure in our minds to understand that all of us are part of the change.
Right, and kind of being agreeable to change, you do need an open mind. You can't think that you have control over everything, and to be agreeable with change is that opening of self, opening of possibility, and a releasing, letting go, shedding what is about to change.
Well, I just want to say briefly the little bit of coffee conversation we had this morning, from us sitting around.
Yeah, post-retreaters.
Yeah, sitting around the table having our coffee. And, we've got many cultures sitting, many different countries here. And it's like, hey, who's to blame for what's going on in the world right now, right? Is it the leaders? Is it us? Right? We all have choices. And so that's like kind of a big conversation is, we get to vote. I mean, majority of us are Americans, and we're all in this conversation right now in the world, or as Americans in the United States, is, really make a conscious decision here. The world needs us, and the world needs love. And, this is Mercury in the last degree of Libra, right? One more dose of love, fairness, equal power.
Right. Agreeing to the change. So let's move on to still Sunday, October 13th, Mercury ingress Scorpio.
Yeah, now Mercury's now off the 29, Libra, moves into the next sign, boom, Scorpio, getting down and dirty. Do your research on what you are curious about, right? And it could be that, Scorpio is a fixed water sign. It's like, and it can really hold you, can pull you down. Make sure that you are, like, as you just said, kind of open-minded. Is that where you want to get pulled into? Right? Make sure that's what you want to dive into.
Because right? It will be a challenging time?
Just because it's going to be, what are you curious about? Go get that research, that information. But don't, if it's something, when you think you like this and you start studying it, or you're going down a rabbit hole, don't get stuck in Alice in Wonderland. Of, and now I'm stuck, and I believe in some, controversial thing, or some, what do we call those theories? The conspiracy theories, that you totally believe this one thing and not anything else, right?
Right.
But even if you're curious about something that you would never even wanted to go down that rabbit hole, go check it out for a little bit.
Right.
Right.
And see how you respond to it. Do multi-dimensional resource checks and research for yourself. So let's move on to the next transit, Sun trine Jupiter retrograde.
Yeah, and we know that the trine to the sun, that this planet has just turned retrograde, and boom, Jupiter just did turn retrograde just days earlier. So the king returns to a prominence, the sun. Let's see, we're going to be seeing the pharaohs in their temples on this day. So time to use your prominence and get that publisher on the line and pitch your story, pitch your thoughts. This is a really great time with Jupiter in Gemini, and the sign of how you want to communicate some big ideas, some expansive, some positive, hopeful, messages.
Yes. Yeah. And so with this Jupiter retrograde, are these like previous plans that we've kind of been, or maybe even dreams that we've been contemplating or dabbling in?
Maybe not so much dreams. It's just maybe a plan that you have put on the back burner. It's time now to maybe kind of finish those things. Jupiter's going to be retrograde for about 5 months. So again, that takes us into next year.
Mm-hmm.
What things need to be, tidied up, cleaned up, because it's Gemini. You might have had a lot of different doors opened, or drawers opened, or books opened, or, classes that you didn't finish or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plan to conclude them during this next 5 months.
Yes. All right, so that is a wrap on our astrology forecast this week. However, in our house, we want to share a couple more stories from our just wrapped Grecian retreat. This is the main one that we had hosted at Agialis Resort and Spa. It's really like the stunning views, the amazing staff, the food, the this, like everything is just so high luxury, but so at home and appreciated. So it is a really special place. If you haven't checked out our stories and everything, head over to Instagram, where I put a highlight of Greece 2024, so you can see all that we did, pre-retreat, main retreat, post-retreat, and you'll get an idea of just how absolutely spectacular these views are.
One of the things that I overheard one of the retreaters say is, what, I didn't realize that Agialis Resort and Spa was just owned by a family, and it was just grown from a mom and a dad, and now the kids live and work there, and now their kids are growing up in the hospitality world they've gained international recognition on multiple different excellence awards, right?
Sure.
Like stickers, or they get to say the best yoga center in 2023, right? And one of the girls said, I don't know why I thought so many of these high-ranking resorts and spas are, box owned. They're owned by a corporation, whether it would be the 4-person or the Star or the Hilton or whatever, all those other logos that I'm not even saying it fully. This is just family owned and been building over the last, say, 50 years.
Right.
So they walk around. We got to see Stamati's. He just recently went to the United States and did a concert in Las Vegas. Right. The owner's son, who's like, I don't know, was he in his 40s or early 50s? Do you think?
Later 40s, maybe 50s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's
got such a youthful.
Oh my God, he's a Leo.
Like such a youthful.
He laughs all the time.
Yeah, jolly. Probably the jolliest person you've ever met. Always giggling, always laughing, always the most incredible host you could imagine.
And he just walks through the hallway, just walks through the lobby, walks around. Is like, just hospitality to the nth degree.
To a maximum.
And anyway, he performed a concert one night in the open air, and Arta came over, who loves us, and
Arta runs the kitchen.
She runs the meals, and she makes sure your plate's taken away, and what is it that we can get you from the 2,700 different things they're providing for us at each meal that is handmade in the back kitchen. And she's like, okay, your group, why don't you guys go over to the lounge? Stamati's is ready to put the concert together, and you guys can sit outside and watch Venus set, right? And I want to talk about that in a second. And so when we went to sit down, we could see that there was 2 people had sat at one of these like couch areas, right? Because we saw drinks and there, right? So, but they weren't sitting there. So we're like, there's only 2 people sitting here, and there's probably 10 people can sit around the couch. So We sit down, and all of a sudden I see the two gentlemen start walking back to us, to where their seats. And it's the owner. It's the dad of Stamatis, right?
Right.
And so one of the girls does not know it's the dad. And she said, oh, and I love this about her. She said, oh, hey, I hope you don't, she said something like, where I was feeling like, oh my gosh, it's the owner. We should probably not be sitting at his, lounge table. We kind of just crashed his party, even though he was not sitting here. And she goes, oh, I hope you don't mind us joining you. You're going to have like 8 beautiful women sitting with you to enjoy the concert. And I look over to the guy. I hadn't really seen him at first when he sat down. And I'm like, oh my God, Carrie, this is like the owner of the whole place. And she's like, no. And he was so jolly. He was so gentle. He was saying hi, how we're like and everything. And really, he didn't introduce himself as the owner. I'm the one that sent the message around like, this is his joint.
Right.
Him and his wife built this place.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that
very spectacular.
Cool. Yeah.
They had just gotten back from Spain, and I'm sure he was exhausted, but at the same time, he just had a wonderful smile on his face as he was watching his son perform for everybody. And then Stamatis' wife got up and got everyone to dance these wonderful Grecian dances, and we also went up and did one where we kind of like grab each other's shoulders or grab each other's hands, and then we kind of do these crazy footwork and run
in motion.
Yeah, in motion, cycling and circling through all the tables. Just the amount of joy that comes from their traditional dances is wonderful to not only watch but to experience yourself. And they're so gracious and giving when it comes to sharing that knowledge. Instead of just saying, all right, well, anyone who's good at the dance gets to dance. They said, no, if
they grab you.
Right. Even if you don't know how, just this was Stamatis' wife's advice. She said, just feel it. That's all you have to do, and you are dancing. So it was wonderful to be able to dance with them, smile, sweat with them. It is a very activating kind of dance around the whole restaurant.
And the one thing I want to say about Venus, we are teaching Venus star point. Venus has been a night star, and in the sky, separating from the sun goes down, Venus is in the sky, since mid-July.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen her. I've gone up on the rooftop in Chicago, middle of July, the end of July, all of August, all of September, first part of September when I can't see her. There's either clouds or it's overcast or I've missed her. I've missed the timing on it or something. And the very first night that we opened, our opening ceremony, we're standing out at rooftop. So we're outside on the rooftop where you taught your yoga every morning.
Right.
And the sun goes down and we're like, can we? Oh my God, there she is. We saw her every single night. She did not. It was so funny because Ariel Gutman, who wrote the book, right? She goes, I have not been able to see Venus. Other people are posting, on the Venus Star Point.
From all different locations of the world.
Are seeing him. July, August, are seeing him. And like, Ariel, have not seen her with my own eyes. And she goes, neither have I. And boom, she shows up for the retreat.
First day of the retreat.
And we have seen her every single night. We were always outside on the veranda, the bar veranda, I guess we call that, with whatever we're drinking. There were some specialties that only are made in this Amargos Island, the Rocky, the Simony. She was up every night. Yeah. And even last night, even since we've been here, every night we're seeing her.
It is pretty
special. She showed
special.
up. She waited to show herself for this retreat.
It was very cool. Well, that is a wrap on today's short episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining and listening in. We will come to you all next week. And until then, have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one, you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you.